So today I thought I would give you guys an adoption update video. A lot of you had questions from the previous video that I posted announcing our adoption. We are adopting a baby girl from China. I will have that video linked down below so you can check that out. But I just wanted to kind of answer some questions, let you guys know where we are in the process right now of our adoption. It's moving along and it's really exciting, and I'm getting things prepared. So I thought that I would answer some questions and just kind of tell you where I am in the process, where we are in the process. Also, just kind of explain the steps to a China adoption. Because it is a long process and it can be kind of hard to understand because there's so many different steps and abbreviations and things that we use in the China adoption community. So I will just kind of go back a little bit and just tell you some things from the previous video. So like I said, we are in the process right now of adopting a 2-year-old little girl from China. She will turn 2 on June 30th, and her name is May, M-E-I, and we will be naming her Scarlett and keeping her middle name as May. So her name will be Scarlett May. She is a beautiful, beautiful little girl. She's healthy. She seems to be very happy, and we just cannot wait to bring her home. It has been a very long process. It's taken nearly a year from the time we started until the time we traveled to China. It will be about 1 year or maybe a little bit more. So very long process, but totally worth it. So we started the process in September 2015. We decided to move forward with adopting a child from China. My husband and I had talked about it for years. We had always discussed adopting another child. We have 2 biological children already, you know, Kingston and Violette, and we always just really love the idea of giving a child a home who doesn't have one. And we, a few years ago, we were watching a documentary with Lisa Ling about orphans in China, specifically girls. When China made their one-child law, a lot of people gave up their little girls for adoption because in China, in the culture in China, people want to have a boy because a boy carries on the family name. The boy cares for the family when the parents get old and can't work anymore. So a lot of people were giving up their daughters for adoption. In the last few years, that's kind of changed, and China is realizing that that might have been a mistake because now there's so many more boys than girls in China. And so they're realizing when it's time for these children to grow up and get married, there aren't going to be enough brides for husbands. And so China has changed the law recently to allow 2 children. And in China, you can have more than 2 children, but there is a very large fine. And a lot of people, farmers and people who live in the country, they can't afford that fine. So they give up their children for adoption. But China has been working really hard over the last few years to take care of their own and to adopt in country, which I think is a wonderful thing. So a lot of the healthy children that were available for adoption years ago are being adopted now by families in China. So to adopt a perfectly healthy child in China now, if you're coming from another country, the wait is it's at about 8 years right now. So it's pretty much a lot of adoption agencies are just taking that off the table, and they're really encouraging you to check out the waiting children. Waiting children are children with minor to major special needs who need a family. So it could be anything from a birthmark to Down syndrome to HIV to cancer to blindness to deafness, any special needs. So in China, having a special need is undesirable, and so these children are going without families. And now it's kind of switched from girls, there were more girls than boys that needed to be adopted, but now there's a lot of boys that need to be adopted because they have special needs and they're not being adopted. Anyway, moving on. We had decided years ago that we did want to add another daughter to our family. We had Violette, and she is our oldest child, and then we had Kingston. And I just always liked the idea of having another daughter, and so did my husband. And so we were pursuing a girl when we were looking to adopt. Now, sometimes the adoption situation, you join an agency, you sign up at an adoption agency, then you get matched with a child after you've submitted all your paperwork. Now, we did it a different way. There are a lot of waiting child advocacy groups out there, and I was in a group on Facebook that was advocating for a little girl, and this was May, and there was a picture of her with her bright rosy cheeks, and she just looked so sweet. And the minute I saw her face, I knew that we had to pursue her. So we did, and luckily she is a gorgeous little girl, and she had a lot of people who wanted her file. So I was luckily the first one to email the agency and say that I was interested. And so they emailed me her file, and they said, we'll give you 3 days to look over it, have a doctor look over it, make sure that this special need is something that you can manage and that you're willing to, adopt. And so we did. We looked over her file, and I contacted an international adoption doctor who looked over her file and just gave me information about her special need. And we decided that yes, this is something we definitely could handle, and she's beautiful and she's healthy in every other way, so we decided to pursue her. I'll just give you a little brief overview of what May's special need is. Basically, she was born with when she was discovered, she had a little patch of hair on her lower back, about, right on the small of her back, and a lump on her back. And normally that is indicative of some type of spinal injury. And so they had her evaluated in China, and it was discovered that she had a fatty cyst inside her spinal cord, which split her spinal cord. So the bottom of her spinal cord kind of looked like this, and the little cyst was right here, and so it left a little lump on the back of her, on her back. So when she was 3 months old, the orphanage had sent her to the hospital, and she was operated on. They removed the cyst, and her spinal cord was tethered, which means that the nerves were tethered to the spine, so they had her, they did the procedure to untether her spinal cord. Now, a lot of children with Spina Bifida have this situation. She is not diagnosed with Spina Bifida. It is a really long name that I still cannot pronounce, and I will leave it right here for you guys, is the name of what she specifically has. And she is completely fine. She has recovered from her surgery. We don't know what the future holds, obviously, but right now she's doing really well. She's walking, she's running, she's, doing everything that a normal little 2-year-old can do, and she's doing great. When she comes home, we'll have to take her to the neurologist and have her have her checked out by the doctors here. And from what I've been told, with her special need, children over time can develop scoliosis, so that is definitely something, which is a curvature of the spine, which is something that we'll just have to keep an eye on. But in every other way, she is completely healthy. Her heart is healthy. She doesn't have any blood disorders. She's just, she's just was born with a little lump on her back that just she needed a little help with, and luckily the doctors were able to help her in China, so I'm just really, really thankful. Okay, so now on to the process. Now, it has been a long process with a lot of paperwork. You sign up with the agency, you put in your letter to China saying, yes, I want to adopt this child, and then China will you know, either approve you and say, yes, you can pursue this adoption, or no, you're not eligible. And we were eligible to adopt. And then we had to get a different agency in our area to do the home study, which consisted of like 3 home visits. They came to your house, they interview you, they learn about your family, they learn about your home, make sure your home is safe, make sure you have all the fire extinguishers and locks on your doors and all that kind of stuff. Make sure the home is safe. So once you get your home study, then you have state background checks, federal background checks, all types of, you know, background checks to make sure you don't have any felonies, you're not a criminal, all that kind of stuff, fingerprints, you know, all that. And then once you get all of that and you have your home study done, you send your paperwork to the Department of Immigration, and then they determine through your home study whether you're eligible to adopt from China, and they say, okay, you can adopt from China. So then you get your fingerprints done, and then you wait for that, and then they approve you or they don't approve you, which they approved us. So then once we get our approval, then all that paperwork we've been accumulating this whole 9 months or so, like a pregnancy, all that paperwork we've been accumulating, we include our I-800A, which it's called, which is our approval from the Department of Immigration. We include that. That gets all authenticated. You have to have all your paperwork authenticated on the state level, and then you send it to Washington, D.C., where it's authenticated at the U.S. and the China Embassy. And then once all that is done, then this is the process we're at right now. Your dossier goes to China. So our adoption agency took all our paperwork, FedExed it to China, and it arrived in China last week. And so now our big step is we're waiting for our login date, which hopefully will be this week. So once your dossier is logged in, you're logged into China, they're like, okay, we got it. Then they have to translate it, and that takes a few weeks. And then once that's translated, then you get your letter of approval. Now this is the letter from China saying, okay, you want to adopt this specific child, and not just any child from China. We are approving you to adopt this specific child. Once you get that, you go back to the Department of Immigration. You fill out more paperwork saying China said, okay, we can adopt this specific child, and then Department of Immigration says, okay, you can adopt this specific child, and you get that paper, and then that's like, then you wait 2 weeks to get that approved, and then you get more login stuff, and that's another few weeks. It's crazy. I'm gonna leave a picture of kind of like the process. It's nuts. Like I thought that buying my house was like a big deal. Buying my house was a piece of cake. I cannot believe how much paperwork that I actually did. And I did do most of it because my husband, Jerry, he's been working, and he works overseas a lot. So I'm the one who's been kind of getting it all together and just being like, hey honey, sign this, sign that, and he's done, you know, what he's needed to do, which I'm very thankful for. But so once we're logged in, we get our approval, then we'll get our travel approval, which is like the moment when they're like, okay, you can come to China and get your child now. So from what we've been told with our agency, normally from dossier to China to travel approval can take anywhere from 3 to 5 months. I'm hoping it's like 3 months. So we are really hoping that we'll be able to travel to China in the September time frame. It may be October, and I hope it's no later than that. We are just so excited. We've just been getting everything ready. I've got the crib right here all set up for her. And I've been buying her, you know, some more toys and clothes and just sippy cups and just all kinds of stuff because I'm going to have a toddler again, and it's been a while. Kingston is 6 now, so it's been a while since I've had a little one running around, and we're just so excited. And I'm so excited to visit China and just you know, see this amazing country and this completely different culture. We've always been in love with Asian culture, and so adopting from China just kind of was like the only option for us. We didn't think of any other country or anything like that. We just especially when we saw that documentary, we just immediately knew we had a daughter in China. And we do. We have a daughter in China, and she's gorgeous, and I can't wait, and I'm hoping that they will be able to send us another update soon. We only get updates maybe every 3 months or so. They'll send us a couple of pictures and like what her new measurements are. But now that we have our dossier in China, the nannies and stuff, they're more willing to kind of send you a little bit more because they know for sure that you're coming. So hopefully soon, within the next week or two, I'm hoping that they'll send another update with some pictures, and if they do, I will update you guys. Her birthday is coming up, so I'm gonna send her a birthday cake, and hopefully I can get pictures of her with her little birthday cake. That would be wonderful. I wish she was here for her birthday, but next year she will be. But that is just my update for now. I just wanted to kind of explain the whole China situation because a lot of you just had questions about it, and so I hope that this kind of cleared things up. If you have any more questions at all, just leave them in the comments down below, and I will do another video for you guys because I really enjoy doing this. And yeah, that is it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.